Trundle and Fairhome, you're in advanced settings where you've got a lot of drilling data, you've got hallmarks of the neighbouring projects, and in those cases you're trying to find the high grade. There's neighbouring projects that have got over 20 million ounces of gold and over 5 million tonnes of copper.
Well, hello, welcome to Assay TV. Today, I'm delighted to be joined once again by Sam Spring, who is the President and CEO of Kincora Copper. Kincora Copper are an Australian company listed on the TSX and ASX, and they are exploring for copper gold porphyries in the highly prospective Lachlan Fold Belt of New South Wales. Sam, great to see you today. When we last spoke, and if our viewers want to go back and have a look at that video, it's available on assay.com, on the assay.com. But when we last spoke, you gave an overview of the company. But today I'd like to sort of focus in on the sort of 3 to 4 prospects that your company is currently looking at. 3 by the company and one extra one, one sort of bonus one by a neighbour of yours who's drilling in the same sort of ground as your tenement. But let's start off with Fairhome. You've recently announced a drilling campaign there, maiden drilling campaign there. If you could just start off by telling us, you know, that land has been drilled a little bit before. What was found there previously, and what are you following up on, and what are you targeting with this campaign?
Yeah, no, thank you, Leo, and for having us on. Fairhome, we're very excited about. We've just started drilling, as you say, our first campaign. Fairhome is an advanced project over 60,000 metres of previous explorer drilling, which has confirmed a very large geochemical footprint. The previous focus really was looking for deeper copper porphyries. What we're looking for is a higher level in the setting, looking for an epithermal carbonate-based metals zone, not dissimilar to what you see down at the gold corridor at Cowal, and that's only 15 kilometres along trend from where we've started drilling at Gateway. So there's a large mineral system there. There's 13.7 million ounces total endowment, so a really world-class system, but really that system's really grown since Evolution bought it, and over that period of time there's been no work done at our Fairhome project, and what we're looking to do is really replicate and target the same type of the system at Gateway as what Evolution's successfully done at Cowal. So I guess it's looking at an advanced project in a really good location in a different way to previous explorers.
What was previously found by the previous drilling?
So at Gateway, which is where we're honing in on, there's a large alteration footprint, which is very anomalous to what you see at Cowal, very structurally controlled. There's very broad intervals in there. Say, for example, where we're drilling this first hole, there's 123 metres of greater than 0.6 gold from near surface. Within that, there's multiple intervals of high grade zones that are at sort of economic widths and grades that you see at Cowal. And they just haven't been followed up. So that's where we're very encouraged that you're in a really good setting. You've got broad intervals, you've got high grade intervals. This first phase drilling program will test a 400 metre strike zone and see if we can get that to hang together.
And when will the drill bits be turning, and when would you expect to have some results?
We've started drilling. Hopefully assay results back for the first hole in about 5 weeks. The nice thing about drilling at Fairhome is that they're relatively shallow holes compared to what we've drilled in the past at Trundle and continue to drill at Trundle. So yeah, I guess another element in terms of news flow coming out, and very keen to see what this first phase program for 5 holes, 1,700 metres generates. But we've got sort of 39 holes for 6,000 metres planned at, and permitted down at Fairhome as a total.
Excellent. You just mentioned Trundle. This is sort of your flagship project, I guess. You've already drilled, is it about 20 holes, 24 holes there, and had results back from about 20, yeah? Tell us, you know, what have you seen at Trundle that is giving you encouragement to sort of keep going with that campaign?
Yeah, and it's an interesting one. Usually after drilling a project for this amount of time and drilling that amount of holes, it's pretty binary. You've found something definitively or you've killed it. At Trundle, we're still drilling up in the northern part at Mordialloc, down in the southern part at Trundle Park. And we recently announced in an exploration update the skarn system at Trundle Park, where we're seeing some interesting mineralisation near surface, is extended to over a 500 metre zone now. But more encouragingly is that we've seen in our last hole 22, some potassic alteration at depths. And the real prize in this belt is, if you sort of look at your hand, turn it upside down, you're looking for a cluster of finger porphyries. So these pipes that we think are the source of the fluids in the skarn. Over in North Parks, which is in the same intrusive complex over to the east, you've got a series of these pipes and fingers effectively coming up. That sort of accounts for 5.5 million ounces of gold, 4.5 million tonnes of copper. And that potassic alteration that we saw in 22 is what you generally see proximal to one of those pipes and being close to the core of one of those systems. So we're very keen coming back, following that up, and pretty encouraged by what we're seeing there to date. But I guess if you can find the first pipe, provides you proof of concept, then the hunt's on for the second. But I guess we think we're pretty close with where we're at Trundle Park at the moment.
I mean, typically, how wide are these pipes?
They can be only sometimes 200 metres wide, 200 to 400 metres wide, say Cadia Ridgeway. Classic example that John Holliday, our technical director, was involved with the discovery with. And when you're close to these pipes, all you can do is drill them. Geophysics or other exploration tools aren't going to give you any greater sense. You've just got to go off what you're seeing in the drill core. And I guess that's where the geologists are very encouraged by the style of mineralisation that we're seeing there.
And so how many holes do you have planned coming up this year?
Yeah, no, we'll keep going at Trundle, both up in Mordialloc and Trundle Park. The rig's up in Mordialloc at the moment while we get our head around and follow up plans for hole 22. Up in Mordialloc, we have confirmed there's a large intrusive complex up there. We're now drilling up to the northeast and southwest on the margins of that complex where we think there's higher grade potential.
Okay, so more results to look out for there. And your Ningen project, tell us about what you're doing there.
Yeah, Ningen's very different to Trundle and Fairhome. Trundle and Fairhome, you're in advanced settings where you've got a lot of drilling data, you've got hallmarks of the neighbouring projects, and in those cases, you're trying to find the high grade. There's neighbouring projects that have got over 20 million ounces of gold and over 5 million tonnes of copper. What we're doing at Ningen is trying to confirm that we're in the right age rocks. We're trying to find a system. It's in the northern part of the Junee Narromine Belt. It's from I guess, a conceptual perspective, potentially the largest intrusive complex of the Macquarie Arc, which is where you want to be for finding porphyries. So the first hole we drilled, we intersected basement where we thought we would. We intersected some fossils, and I guess the interesting thing about the fossils is trying to confirm, are these the right age? And if they are, confirm that we are in the Macquarie Arc. You've got another junior Inflection Resources drilling around us. You've got FMG that's picked up ground. This part of the belt is very underexplored relative to other parts of the Macquarie Arc. So it's a little bit earlier stage. It's more grassroots. And I guess if we can confirm that we're in the right age rocks, that'll be a big positive. And the nice thing about drilling at Ningen is we've got cooperative funding from the New South Wales government for that program, where they're effectively matching us dollar for dollar. So it's building up that earlier stage project pipeline in a strategic location of the belt.
Excellent. And also, I want to talk about your what Sultan Resources are doing at Big Hill. They're your neighbour at that particular tenement. What are they doing? What have they found so far? And why should you guys be getting excited about what they're doing?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, Leo. It's not often in exploration you get a bit of a free kick, but Sultan's drilling, their first phase program was within 280 metres of our licence boundary. They drilled 3 holes, same Cowal location, got some interesting results and enough encouragement to come back and do a second phase program that we expect to shortly occur. That Big Hill project, there's a geochem anomaly that goes across our licence boundary. There's IP, there's magnetics, again, that goes across that licence boundary. So effectively, Sultan, if they have success drilling there, will be proving up a target for us to look and drill on our licence boundary if they do have success. So I guess we're watching very keenly how that project advances and that target is pushed forward while we focus in on at Fairhome and at Trundle.
Absolutely. But I assume that if they found something significant, then you would get some drill bits turning of your own, yeah?
Oh, yeah, it's the obvious one. You go to the other side of the licence boundary and look to continue testing that target. So, no, we wish them all the best, and they're doing a pretty good job accelerating that target pretty quickly.
Excellent. And in terms of funding all your drilling, how are things looking in that aspect?
Yeah, not too bad. We completed our IPO on the ASX only at the end of March, raising over 10 million, or raising 10 million in an oversubscribed offering. So that provides us good funding into next year, just to pin the ears back and put the I suppose money into the ground and test these targets and execute on the strategy that we presented. So we're in a good position to do that.
And as people who followed your company for a while will know, you've also had some activity up in Mongolia previously, and you're now looking to sort of spin off those that portfolio. Yeah, tell us about how that's going to work.
It is. I mean, it's hard to get value in the market for a pipeline of projects in one jurisdiction, let alone two. So we undertook a strategic review, decided let's focus in on New South Wales. We've announced an agreement with Resilience Mining. They're in the advanced stages of finalising their prospectus to list on the ASX with our Mongolian portfolio. We'll retain 20% interest at the asset level to certain project milestones being carried, and also 9.9% of Resilience once they're listed on the ASX, having raised a minimum of 5 million. And those guys are looking at listing imminently and drilling within the next quarter of being listed. So I guess it's one where we can focus in on New South Wales. We demonstrate value from our Mongolian strategy and retain attractive upside that we don't have to fund for exploration and development success. So yeah, it's one of those sort of deals where if we're not working the ground, you're better off completing a transaction and letting someone else do it and keeping upside to that.
Absolutely. I mean, as we've gone through in this chat, you've got a lot on your plate at the moment, a lot of projects to focus on. So it's good to have someone else looking after those assets. Yeah. It
is. I mean, there's effectively 3 projects we're drilling ourselves, a 4th one that Sultan's testing for us, and then hopefully you'll see a 5th project being drilled in the next quarter in Mongolia. So that's, I guess, if you're investing in the exploration space, you want to see the drill bit turning, you want to see targets being tested. There's no point land banking projects.
Fantastic. So over the next quarter, what should investors be looking out for? What are the key milestones?
Well, it's drill results, both Trundle, Fairhome. I guess we'll work out this second hole at Ningen, keep an eye on Sultan, testing our Cowal project there with Big Hill, and hopefully seeing Resilience ringing the bell for IPOing on the ASX. So plenty of value milestones out there.
Excellent. Lots of news flow to look out for. Well, thank you very much, Sam, for joining us today for that update, and best of luck for the year ahead.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Leo.
Thank you.